So, welcome to the main cut. I'm your host, Jade, and today I'm here with Emmy nominated celebrity hairstylist Dior Sovoa. And, we're going to go into a conversation all about his experience as a celebrity hairstylist. There's a lot for us to talk about. But besides being a hairstylist for shows for the likes of Love and Hip Hop, The View, Good Morning America, Dior is also a hairstylist to the one and only Mariah Carey, who's currently on tour, and has worked with many others like Patti Labelle, Cecily Tyson. And today we get to talk, like I said, about his journey in the industry, get an insight into what it really means to work behind the scenes of TV and film. And yeah, many other things in between. So welcome to the show. We are super excited to have you here and super lucky to have some of your time in the middle of a tour as well.
Well, I really thank you, Jade. Thank you for being amazing and thank you for this interview. I'm ready to get down and gritty with you and give you what it is like in the life of Dior Sovoa.
No, we're so excited. And first, what I would love to hear more about, and I'm sure everybody who's listening would love to hear more about this as well, is tell me a bit about your journey into the industry. How did it start? How did you get into hair in the beginning? How did you get to where you are now?
I can literally say it's nothing but God. My mother was a hairstylist. And even up to her last days before she passed away, she was still doing hair. And you can see that brought a smile on her face. Like she
Oh.
really didn't have the muscle capacity to do hair and things like that, but she made it work. The last thing I remember her doing before she passed was doing finger waves, and she ate them finger waves up on that lady, honey. And I was just like, okay, this is the journey that I think I'm going to go on. So I started when I was younger doing hair. Then I got away from it. You know, your family always asking for free hairdos. I was like, I'm going to college. I'm going to go get me a regular job. I ain't got to be time to being used and all of that by family members. But I realized that hair is my passion, is what I love. And I think that because I'm a hairstylist, it brings me closer to my mother because I'm fulfilling not only my journey, but I'm fulfilling her journey that she didn't get to finish. So that's basically my journey. Growing up in Washington, D.C., watching my mother slay hair, being the loving person she was, she kept the family together. Tried to follow in her footsteps and just elevated so we can live both of our dreams.
No, I love that. And it's always amazing. A lot of people that I've spoken to have had like a family member, particularly like a mom or an auntie or even an uncle that's been a stylist or a barber.
Hmm.
And that's really influenced the way that they got into the industry. So when you were young and you were watching your mom, in the salon or doing people's hair, how do you feel like that inspired you to pursue a similar career?
When I was younger, it really didn't inspire me. I was just like, okay, I knew I liked doing hair and everything. But as I got older, I realized this was my passion as well. Like going to college, I did that, graduated, got a job, and was like, this ain't the job for me. I know it ain't. So, like, literally everything fell into my lap. I would have to say God has been amazing to me. For me, um, when I quit my regular job, I went to go assist my aunt, who's a hairstylist as well.
Oh,
Um, and the lady that I was assisting her with was like, "You're too good. You need to go to school for it."
oh,
I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to school for it." Went to school for it, got my license.
right.
My boss at the time, when I was working at a different salon, I left that salon. I started working in another salon. My boss decided that he didn't want to do a client, and this client happened to be in a movie. He didn't know that. So I ended up getting to do the project, which was amazing. And in Washington, D.C., it was like a little indie film. And I remember seeing my check at the end of the month, and I was like, oh, I make this versus being at a salon. Oh, child, let me go. That salon gonna be there on weekends. Let me go try to find me some real money out here and stuff like that. I ain't gotta hustle so hard like this. And one of the girls that was friends with one of the guys on the movie, Lily, came to DC, and she's had the best of the best hair stylists in New York, but there's nobody comparable to Dior Sovoa, and I had to let her know because she came in talking cocky like, "Oh, I've had the best hairstylist in New York. I hope you can slay my weave, and I hope it looks good and natural." When I got finished with her, she was like, "Oh, you want to move to New York?" I was like, "Why?" She was like, "You need to move to New York. You need to see where this can take you."
Mm.
So I did. I slept on her couch for a year and grinded out. And look
That's
at God now.
incredible. So from your mom who was a hairstylist to going to salons, getting through school, um, being on someone's couch. I want to hear more about New York because that sounds like that was a whole chapter.
Oh, it was definitely a whole chapter, but I got through it. And like they say, if you can survive New York, you can survive anywhere. Only the strong survive.
Yeah, that's
Concrete jungle, it really is.
that feels like that's a running trend with anybody that I speak to about New York. But no, that feels like it's been, you said that it's something that you've always been passionate about.
Hmm.
And you even got to a point that you opened your own salon eventually. Um,
Yes,
and so that is, I mean, and in New York, you did that. Not only did you open a salon, but in New York, which is probably one of the hardest places to set up camp, period. You know,
period.
and that's not easy. It's not easy for anybody, regardless of how experienced they are. There are loads of stylists here that are listening, a lot of them with the ambition of opening their own salon one day. So, what advice do you have for them, given everything that you went through to get to that point?
Save your money. Don't be opening up that salon unless you got millions to waste. 'Cause we don't know what this world is about to do. We got 45 presidents that need to go. So save your money. I'm not giving no advice on opening up any business right now. The business I'm going to tell you is save your money because we don't know what this world is about to be. We might have to run across country, honey. Do your hair, put it in the bank or put it in a safe and get ready to run. That's all I can tell you. No, but for real, if it's something that you really, really want to do and you can see yourself opening up a salon, my first thing I would say if you're going to open up a business or a salon like that, make sure that you're a person who gives back.
Mm.
Because you sometimes you will lose out on a lot, and if you're not a person who gives back, it will eat away at you. You will lose money, you will lose clients, you will lose stylists, all of that. But if you're a person that's just there to help and give back, you'll find your niche and you'll find a way to make the salon work.
And I mean, being a salon owner isn't just about opening it, it's also about finding other stylists that,
That really like you and want to work with you and see you succeed, because
yeah.
let's be honest, a lot of people in this industry just want to drag you down. They don't want you to get above them. They're okay with you growing as long as you don't grow past them. And
Yeah.
it's like we all should grow past each other.
And it's also finding stylists that have the level of skill and the level of experience that reflects what you want your clients to have. So
Yes.
it, finding the right people, again, that's a huge part of running a salon. So how did you find that? Because it's not just you in there. You've got to get other people that are, like you say, good enough.
For me, I auditioned. So my salon only had 4 stations. So I auditioned people. Like
Right.
they were on a 90-day audition. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm ready for you to just be here. No, they knew that they're on a 90-day probation. They know
Mm.
that I'm checking everything they do, how consistently they're doing the hair. Are they keeping the client's hair clean? Are they keeping their stations clean? Are they representing me in the best positive light that it could be? Like, I don't care what you do when you leave the salon, but don't be a fool out in these streets because it will get back to us regardless. Being as though we're in the industry, we work around a lot of people and stuff like that. So I just would always audition the right people. And I've went through a lot of stylists and fired a lot of people. And you also have to realize when you're in that position, you have to be a little bit meaner. You have to put your business first and be able to say, okay, well, this person's acting up. I don't want to deal with it. They have to go.
Mm. No, that's really true. And it's again, it's one thing to have the ambition, it's another thing to be able to step into that person that you have to become
Yes.
for this work. So it's not just about being skilled enough, it's not just like you can save all the money in the world, but if you're not prepared to, almost like level up your character so that you can be that person that runs the salon, then it just won't work anyway.
And my best advice is your first 5 people, you're going to be you're going to be held back from trying to fire them because most people, especially us, we have good hearts and we don't want to bring anybody down. But after you fire your fifth person, it becomes easy to you like, okay, child, you ain't fit for me. I can see you're not doing what you're supposed to do. It's time for you to go. Pack your bags. Goodbye. And you won't have anything because now I don't feel anything. I will tell somebody you fired quickly. It's
Well, yeah,
just business.
there is the saying like be slow to hire and quick to fire. So
Yes.
yeah, that saying exists for a reason and probably like across industries. So I completely appreciate. You don't want to have somebody in the salon that's not representing you the way you want to be represented.
No, not you're not going to be acting a fool because especially these young stylists, they don't pay attention. I'm so glad I was gifted by the older stylists because these young ones, they just do anything. Come with your hair washed, come here, braided, come with everything. Why am I doing everything just to come to you just to sew a track in my head? No. I want the full service. That's what it's called, a full service salon. It's not called braid me up or weave me down. No, it's called a full service salon. So I'm glad that I was also taught by the real vets and the real hairstylists in the world because my aesthetic is different when I had my salon. And I think that's why we did so well. We treated people like they were royalty when they came in, not like they were just another number trying to make money.
Yeah, and I mean that's something that you translate to all of your clients now, right?
Hmm.
You're in a position where you're on tour with like the one and only Mariah Carey. That's a huge achievement for anybody to be on tour with somebody that, that has such an amazing presence. Um, and saying that, how did you get into that position? Because I feel like that's something that everybody wants to know. How did you land Mariah as a client?
Well, I definitely have to thank my furry godmother, Elena George. She was the person who introduced me. She used to work with Mariah back in the day. When I used to work at Good Morning America, I was basically, or ABC Prairie, I was basically the only person who made wigs and weaves.
Right.
And so everybody would especially all the black ladies, anchors and people would come to me and I would make their units and stuff like that.
Mm.
And MC was just in for a day where she was promoting her book and she asked the lady, do you know of a stylist? I guess her stylist wasn't doing what she wanted her to do.
Mm.
So she called me over, she tested me out, and she was like, Dior, you know you stuck with me, right? And I was like, what you mean? So the years progressed, we found out we have so much in common. We're both Aries. We both have boy and girl twins. We both had, a crazy, rough life, um, in different instances, of course.
Mm.
But we were able to come together and know that I think God put us here for a reason.
Mm.
Because I've never met another Aries that's has boy and girl twins. That's like almost like me. Like Mariah Carey is the person that I love. Like that's my sis. I ride or die for life.
Oh, that's like really lovely to know because it's not just, I think we kind of live in a world right now where it's very much like people are just trying to, it's like a very kind of like fast culture where people are really
Hmm.
trying to stick with one person and have them really nurture their hair, look after their hair. Yeah, people are very quick to chop and change between stylists, and that's not really, there's not a huge amount of benefit to that unless somebody say, you want to have weave one time and they don't specialize in anything else, and then you'd want
Hmm.
your stylist. But it's amazing to hear that she's just said, you're stuck with me, that's it.
Oh yes. Now there has been there is other hairstylists on the roster. But for the most part I can say I'm the one that's with her every day. And
Mhm.
things after the pandemic of being stuck in the same house with the queen, I ain't going nowhere. We stuck together, honey. We didn't live together, honey, so it ain't going nowhere.
That's it must also be a great experience to, like say, be so close to somebody, but also be able to look after them in a really special way because hair is such a
Yes.
huge part of our culture. It's a huge part of who people are, making them feel good about themselves, and if they're a performer, helping them feel ready to perform. So it must be just like amazing to be so embedded within, her others, her family, the
Oh, if
people.
I didn't, the lambs would get me, honey, too. The lambs do not play about MC, baby. They will come after me. And I don't want that, honey. I don't want that. I
Oh,
always say her and Beyonce have the biggest fan bases in the world.
yeah,
And it's amazing.
yeah. And that base is definitely always going to be checking to see who's looking after them and who's
Yes. As
not.
soon as you know, they're gonna be ready to pounce on you. Mm-mm. I don't want that. I ain't trying to get jumped by no lambs, baby.
um no, I mean, like, that's really, like, really heartwarming to hear. But I can also imagine that as you've been coming up, Mariah Carey wasn't your first client. You've had to go through probably a huge amount of trials and challenges to get to where you are now. So, what kind of challenges did you face as you were building your career, and how did you overcome them?
Oh wow. I started my first actual job was on reality TV.
Right.
And it was definitely a different ball game. I was excited to be there and to be able to do, hair there, but I realized, oh baby, this ain't for me. It's a little too ghetto over here. I'm trying to grow. I left the ghetto for a reason. I'm trying to be better. And I just didn't find, like, after a while, like, you're in the door, but you just find it kind of tacky to see people always arguing and fighting about the little incidents, something just for ratings, just to get the TV going, get to keep it buzz, especially us black people. I feel like um, they know how to exploit us because they know that mostly everybody's looking for a check.
Mm.
And so I just couldn't get with that. So I went to assist a hairstylist at The View. I was helping do Sherry Shepherd. And when he wasn't available, I would go do Sherry Shepherd. I would do Sunny when Sunny came in and Whoopi. And then I got a call from Good Morning America. It was like, can you come do this job? And I was like, oh, really? Okay. Yeah, let me go. I did that and seen that I go to work at 5 o'clock and I'm home by 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, "Oh, baby, this is the life for me. Y'all be going to work. I'm getting home, about to go relax. I can go do 5 more jobs after this. Okay, so yeah, I'll take this job right here." And it was an amazing thing. I would work as the lead on weekends and a floater during the week. So I had a really easy schedule, but my schedule was so mapped out. It was amazing before the pandemic. This pandemic messed up everything. I was literally working at Good Morning America. I would leave there. I would go to Facebook and work for the Dodo.
Oh,
And then I would leave the Dodo, go home, do 2 clients. And then I would take a rest. And then I would do MC at nighttime. So
oh.
literally my schedule was like back to back to back every day. Routine. I knew what I was doing. And them checks was looking lovely. You couldn't tell me anything.
And,
You even
like,
thought I was out here getting Trump checks.
so when the pandemic hit, how did that? Obviously, it feels like it was yesterday, but it's now been a few years. But when the pandemic hit, how did that change? Because it
Oh, it's
feels like
changed every
that.
job that I had. I literally, me and MC, Mariah, as you know, we packed up, we moved to Atlanta.
Right. Okay.
We were in Atlanta during the pandemic, so we would have a lot of open space for her kids to play and things like that. And it was amazing for me, especially when the world started to open up. I was able to fly my kids out and they would, be having fun in Atlanta with her kids. It would be like a little family adventure. So it was perfect for me.
Yeah, but that must have been a huge change to go from TV, like, back to back days, to now something completely different that may have actually been more peaceful.
Yes. Yes, it definitely was more peaceful, but my mind is chaotic anyway. So I love to deal with the chaos. It helps me push through. I love a challenge. So if I'm not challenged, it's hard for me.
Okay. And now that things have changed again, now that the world is open again, how has that changed your routine? Has it like gone more so back to what it was pre-pandemic? Has it changed completely again?
Oh no. So now I'm just with MC all the time, so I have no time for anybody else most of the time.
Right. And is that something that you like if you compare pre and post, is there anything about pre-pandemic schedule, pre-pandemic you that you would want to have back? Or is it like, nope, this is new and you love what it is now?
I would say yay and nay. There's always going to be something that you're going to miss pre-pandemic, because life was different.
Mm,
But this journey that I'm on with her and going on tour and doing a lot, it means the world to me. I get to see the world in through a different view. My mother gets to see it through my eyes as well. May God rest her soul.
mm.
So I'm just open for whatever God has for me. I'm not going to like close anything out. Something, hey, she may do a show, get $1 billion, and be like, you know what, we ain't working no more. Let's go. So you never know. So I'm just following God's footsteps and seeing where it leads me to. That's all I can do.
Okay, no,
And that also, to me, that's one thing that all stylists have to do. Anybody who works in the industry, you have to
mm,
let it play out its course. Because if you don't, you're going to regret it, and you're also going to be thinking about it all the time. Like, oh, why this could have happened, that could have happened. But if you just let it play out and see where things go, and you know that you have a good heart, everything will work out for the best.
mm. No, that is very true. And I mean, like you're on the tour right now, and I can imagine that's been a whirlwind to be a part of, and it's going to be a really busy period. But for those that are interested in stepping into that side of things when it comes to hairstyling, celebrity hair, film, TV, how do you go about preparing yourself for a tour? Because that must be a lot before you even get there.
Ooh, now that's the stressful part. It's weeks of preparation, weeks of preparation, sometimes months, because I'm always um reaching out to brands trying to find the best hair care products for her during the tour so her hair isn't stressed out. We know we use a lot of heat sometimes, having to straighten the hair or recurl the hair as it's on stage when we're in quick change. So that's one of the first things I do. I reach out to brands to see which one is the best, to see who I can get sponsored.
Hmm.
Then we do tests for a couple of weeks. We see which hairstyles we want to do, which best fits the outfits for the quick changes. Then we come back, switch out outfits. If we don't like those outfits, come back, got to figure it out again. Then we start pre rehearsals, which are
Oh,
long. Then we start full rehearsals, which are even longer.
wow.
So I'm just going to say, if it's something that you're real passionate about, it can work for you. But if it's just something you're looking for a check for, I would say don't do it.
Yeah.
Really do this if you're into the industry and you want to work in this industry. I know there's a lot of people that think that they want to work in the industry, but they just love doing hair. I have friends that will not leave the salon. They make
Okay.
enough money in a salon and they're like, I'm good. I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with people, stuff like that. I want to be able to go home at the end of the day. Because
Yeah.
again, my job is never ending. I can be called at any points of time.
Mm.
And some people aren't with that. But for me, I'm a server and I love the person that I work with. So it's easy for me.
Yeah, and I guess it just depends on what kind of life you want to live, right? And with
Yes.
any choice, it comes with, it comes with a lot of gain, but also there's sacrifice. It just depends on what sacrifice feels bearable for each person.
Yes. It definitely, like, I can. So a couple of months ago, I went on vacation because my grandmother passed away. And I haven't flown commercial in over 4 years.
Right.
My friends were laughing at me because I did not know what to do. While I was at the airport, you would have thought I was stuck. You would have thought I was the queen. My friend Markel was like, you know what? Let me just do everything for you. Just go sit down, princess. Okay, you just go sit down, princess. We're going to get this figured out for you, okay? And I'm like, thank you, because I don't know what is going on right now. And flying international, oh yeah, I was losing it. So there's good things and bad things. Like I have to get readjusted back to the real world of life as well,
Yeah.
because being with the queen, she lives a totally different life. That's major and it's amazing. Hopefully, I can get there one day. It
Mm.
motivates me to try to get there one day. I know I will never be a Mariah Carey, but hopefully I'll have some Mariah Carey money as I continue to grow.
No, that's a huge ambition to have. And when you think about some of the things that you want to do, because you've done so much, but is there anything that you haven't done yet that you really want to do in the future?
Yes, there's things outside of doing hair that I want to do. Like I've always told that I should be a voice actor. So I want to delve into that. As you know, as I get older, I'm like when I'm 60 and 70, I want to be able to sit on my couch and say, "Oh, y'all hear me on this cartoon or something?" Tell my kids or something like that. I would love that. So things like that. All avenues. I am not a one trick pony. So I would like to see what God has in store for me. If it's meant to come for me, it'll come to me. All I can do is work at it and stay as humble as possible and let God lead my life.
Yeah, no, that's true. And it's, I guess, to be open to those new possibilities, you kind of also have to let go of all the things that you think you want all
Yes.
the times, and you have to be like, well, if it comes, then it comes.
Yes. Because some things you think you want, and then when you get it, you're like, oh no, this is not what I wanted. Yeah, that's why they say be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, be very careful what you ask for. There's power in words. A lot
Hmm.
of power in words. Um, and I mean, you like you said, you specialize like right now in wigs and weaves. And what made you pursue that particular path when it came to hairstyling? Because there's lots of different avenues that people can go down. What was it that made you fall in love with the wigs and the weaves of the world?
When I started working in TV and film in daytime television, and I seen these horrible wigs that the women of color or people who wear wigs were wearing. And I was like, are y'all getting these wigs from Amazon? Like, what is going on? Why does it look so much like a wig? It's supposed to look natural, like they can't tell. And y'all are making it like we know it's a hat on your head. And I'm like, no. So I was like, my first person that I got to make a unit for. I really don't like people's names out there, but it was a black anchor that's been at ABC for over 20 years. And soon as I walked up to her, I was like, "Can I redo your unit and make it?" And she was like, "Sure." I did it. She done ordered 25 wigs. Her husband like, "Don't order no more wigs up in here. Don't order no more." She be like, "Dior, sneak the wig upstairs into the glam room. Just go up there. Just go up there." I'd be like, okay, I'm going up there. So it just became a niche for me. Like, hey, we need these anchors to look as good as they're supposed to look. They're on TV. You're in front of a camera. No matter how high your job is, if you're one of the newer anchors or you've been a veteran anchor, you still deserve the same type of glam that everybody else has, so that way you can look presentable on camera. Because let's be honest, in the world that we live in, we're being judged even more now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to, everybody's a makeup and hairstylist somehow. They know how to do a little bit of something. They always got an opinion, so you got to be on point at all times.
That is actually that's a big topic of discussion is always, especially with women in front of the camera. There's always a lot of criticism when it comes.
Hmm.
So whether we see it happened a lot with Serena Williams over the years. Happened a lot with Simone Biles.
Simone Biles,
She's
yes.
like one of the most well decorated athletes in history. Forget
Hmm.
sport, forget gymnastics. Like in any sport, one of the most well decorated, and there's still always this focus On hair.
on the hair. And I'm like, do y'all realize she's natural? She is sweating. Her hair is going to kink up. She does not have a perm in her hair. Her parents were smart. They didn't give her just for me like the rest of y'all had. And that's why y'all have no edges now. Like, stop making fun of somebody who's working hard because their hair is sweating. Like, when you leave a club, your hair sweats and you got to go redo it over. So, what do you think is going to happen when she's doing 20 flips, backflips, and all of this for the world to let her know that black girls are beautiful and they can rock? Like, what does the world expect? That always baffled me. Like, why are
Mm,
y'all talking about her hair? Like, first of all, most of y'all natural girls know that your hair kinks up when you go outside and it's just a little bit of sweat.
mm.
She's sweating for hours. So I never understood the hype of like trying to tear a black, especially a black woman, down about their hair.
Yeah, and we see, I think that that's one of the biggest problems that we see is, like you said, there's a issue of there are black women that are in the limelight that
Mm-hmm.
haven't necessarily had the best, the access to the best, and it's like, how do we get them access to the right wigs, the right weaves, the right stylists that can do that for them? And then there's also people that are just criticized for no good reason anyway.
Yes.
But what are some of the other problems that you see in the textured hair community right now, and how do you think we can start to try and fix them?
Mm. Fixing it, I think, will definitely be a problem because of the new generations that are coming up. This We were very judgy growing up. I remember growing up around people that were judgy, but it was not so much in a hurtful instance. Now
Mm,
everybody thinks that they are Mariah Carey. They want to step out the house with cameras and security guards and all of that. They think that they're the top thing. So I don't really know how we can really change that. The only thing I can say is we have to stop being so hard on ourselves.
mhm,
As people of color, we definitely need to stop tearing each other down and things like that because you never know what somebody is going through. And we all know how black women feel about their hair.
mhm,
We've already had these instances as growing up where we're told our hair isn't good enough, our hair can't do this, our hair can't do that. But at the end of the day, and I always remember this quote, I always tell black people, your hair is magic.
mm,
We're the only race in the world who hair grows up towards God. Everybody else hair falls down. Our hair can grow straight up and just keep growing up.
mm.
Our hair texture is unique to the eye, and which is why everybody wants to touch it and feel upon it. And oh, you got your hair kinky today. Oh, you got your hair straight today. Oh, you put color in it. We are amazing creatures who've been able to express our uniqueness while maintaining our healthy hair.
Mm.
Granted, it took us a long time to get there because of Madam CJ Walker, but I'm not mad at you, baby. You got your bag. You came out with these perms for us, and I'm happy. But at the end of the day, it's still hurting us. I only tell people who have short hair to get relaxers. If you have long hair, silk press your hair out. It looks better flat ironed anyway when it's silk pressed. And I understand that it's hard for some people because we're so used to growing up with relaxers in our hair. But at the end of the day, it's doing nothing but damaging our hair unless we really need it to be there. I don't
Yeah.
care what type of new relaxers they came out or anything. It's still a chemical that's going on top of your head.
Mm. And that's something that I think that people are definitely becoming more conscious of it. That
Mm-hmm.
relaxer sales have definitely been on a downward trend for the past like 4 or 5 years. So I think that there are less and less people that are interested in doing that. But there is like this big question of choosing products that are helpful and not harmful. And, how do people go about making those decisions? Because an everyday consumer isn't going to have that knowledge to be able to say, oh, that product doesn't look or sound right. So any advice for people that need to reconsider what they're buying?
I don't know because I just seen a video yesterday where I was like, I can't believe I was eating dust mites, like eating nerd candy. I seen a new thing that how they color food with candy and they use bugs. And I'm like, I've been eating these candies since I was a child. How me as a consumer, how am I gonna figure these things out what's good and what's bad for myself? So it's so hard. I always tell people you have to do tests and trials to
Mm,
go through what products work for you best. Definitely always Google the product to make sure that it's not harmful and what people have to say. There's been a lot. I don't want to say a product that's came out, but there was a product that was doing so good, and now everybody's saying that it's making their hair fall out. And I don't know if it's because the person sold the company and became a bigger company, so it could have been manufactured different. But
yeah.
and always test out your own products. Don't what may work for you, it doesn't work for me. You may have a 4C hair, I might have a 4A hair. So my hair may not absorb as much oil as your hair. So you never know. You have to test products out, and I would say give it 2 weeks to a month to test the product out. If you don't like the way it feels or your hair is having a reaction to it, then I would say switch out your product. But it's always going to be a new product coming out. There's always going to be somebody being innovative and adding one extra chemical to a product that was already made or something like that, and they didn't found the formula that works for everybody. So you never know.
Yeah, no, that is very true. A lot of it is kind of trial and error. I feel that one of the best things that people can actually do is like speak to their stylist. But as much as we need to test things out, the person that's been doing your hair for even if it's just been a couple of years, the person that has been doing your hair is often the best person to turn around and say, maybe you should try this. Maybe you should try.
Yes. And I definitely would say your stylist is the best person because at the end of the day, we have to read about the product because we're not trying to get sued. So we ain't trying to put nothing in your hair that's gonna have your hair falling out. We gotta be in court trying to explain to Susie that you didn't did it yourself or something. No. So we're gonna read up on the product, make sure it's best for your hair, but it's always best for you to read up as well and know what you think because you have to maintain your hair when you're at home.
Yeah, no,
Don't have us using a $2,000 product on your hair and then you go home and you done got some oil at the dollar store and think you won't have the
I.
same result. Because I've seen it done, and I'm like, baby, that's not how the way the world works. Okay,
You definitely, a lot of cases, you get what you pay for.
exactly.
You get what you pay for. I do feel that you can look after your hair on most budgets. It's just knowing where to go and where
Oh
to find.
yes, definitely, definitely. You always go. That's why I would say you have to try out products because let's be honest, in every hood there's a beauty supply store. You can find a beauty supply store early. That's one thing that they have always decided to open up is curry outs and beauty supply stores in the hood. Okay. So even you on a budget, like if you live somewhere where it's not accessible to everything, you're going to be able to get most products. And at the end of the day, we even have Amazon. It's a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
And it's hard to try to order products to go through those and test them out. But what I always say is also what may not work for you, a product that you have, it may work for your homegirl.
Mm,
So you may want to just give it to them. It's not a loss if it's going to work for them and it's not working for you.
yeah. No, that's true. Many a time I've seen people swapping products because
Yes.
there's not enough room on their shelves.
Hmm.
So at that point, you may as well give it to somebody that's already using it, um, or that wanted to test it, because then they don't spend any money on buying it brand new if you've had it and you haven't used it.
And if you feel so bad, there's a lot of homeless people out here that still love to look good. You can box it up and give it to them out on the street. I love doing that.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's a really good idea.
Oh, yes. Clothes, old wigs. Here you go, girl. Here's a wig for you.
Oh,
It may be dirty in 2 days, but at least you're gonna feel fabulous for at least one day. You
yeah,
know, you may not be able to be on the wash it and do all of those things and everything, but at least you have something to feel good about yourself. So
yeah,
I always tell people whatever you can give up that you're not using, give it to somebody who needs it.
yeah.
There's always people in the world that needs it. There could be old extensions in your head, that's in the back of your closet.
Mm.
Girl, go walk down the street. You're gonna see homeless people everywhere. Go get them something, make them feel good, make them feel like Mariah Carey, Whitney, or Beyonce and stuff like that. They want to swing their hair, feel fabulous as well, and everything. Everybody deserves to look good and feel good.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a really good point for anybody that has like excess, because I think that's something that we all end up having in the hair industry is excess of
Hmm.
everything, whether it be excess of hair extensions, excess of hair products. We always end up with things that we're either not using or don't need to use. Um, and I love the idea of giving that to people who otherwise just can't get access to it at all.
Yes.
That's no, that's really an amazing idea, something for everybody to remember, everyone who's listening. Um, but you've been doing this for a very long time. And like you said, we're kind of going through a stage where we're transitioning from one type of hairstylist to another. We've got the people who've been veterans who've been doing it for decades and decades and decades, and we've got new up and coming stylists. There's sometimes huge differences between the way both of them operated.
Hmm.
I think a lot of it is to do with things changing and it not being like a huge salon culture anymore, where
Yes.
you would almost have like the up and coming stylist learning from the veterans in a salon and then going off and being independent later. Whereas it
Yes.
feels like now a lot of people are becoming independent from the get go. So what do you feel? How do you feel that that has really changed the hairdressing industry? How do you think that that's changed the way the stylists operate now versus then?
It's making some of these stylists a mess because they not learning anything. There's ways to handle a client etiquette, knowing their hair, doing consultations, all of those things come into play when you've worked for somebody who's already done it in the business. If you think that you're just gonna pop up in the business and do celebrities because you didn't watch a couple YouTube shows and videos, that's not gonna happen. It like you need to have people that have been in those places so they can give you the runaround and tell you where to go and even help you out in those instances. If I didn't have my grandmother, fairy godmother, Elena, and one of my close friends, DeAndre, I probably would be a little lost in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
But because I have people that support me and are around me and want to see me win, I'm thankful. And I know that I can get somewhere because I've learned the tips and tricks. I know how it is to go to a casting call. I know what to look for. I know how to put a pony. I can say this instances before working on the Clinique commercials a couple of years ago. You couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I had the best ponytail in the game. I was taught how to do the best ponytail by a white man from Evergreen somewhere that don't know much about black hair, but knew how to slay a ponytail to make you think that this lady didn't had a facelift or she's 50 years younger and everything. I've never been able to have such a sleek type ponytail, and I would have never known that if I didn't work with this person. I would have
Mm,
never seen that technique. So it's always good. Even though there's a lot of stuff you can learn on YouTube, the real people who are in this industry, they gatekeep their tricks.
mhm,
So you're the only way you're going to find their tricks and tips is by actually working with them. I've learned that there's so many gatekeepers in this industry when it comes to hair care products, hair care tools, and all of that. Yes, for me, I don't care because I always say you can't do what I can do. So I have no problem telling nobody what it is. What God has for me is for me. But I do know there's a lot of people that gatekeep and they will not tell you anything that they do. I've worked for a lot of stylists that's tried to gatekeep and like they won't tell me how they curl that way or curl this way and stuff or how they style it this way to get the same look and everything. And I wouldn't have known if I didn't get the system and be on say, oh, that's what you do. Okay, so I'm about to elevate that. I seen what you did. Okay. Let me take it and make it mine. Yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest cultural shocks for me is the younger generation does not want to learn anything. They think that they know it all. And let's be honest, we all grew up thinking we knew it all, but then we realized we didn't. We didn't. So as an adult, you already realize you don't know it all. Why are you still trying to apply that in your adulthood life?
mm,
Call up somebody and ask. And don't be afraid to take classes either. A lot of people in this industry feel like, oh, they're too big to take classes. Oh, baby, I'm taking classes all the time. I just took a new class a month ago, how to do a different type of extension that just came out. and got certified. I'm always going to take classes and try to always elevate myself because there's always new techniques coming out. And
That's
you always have to practice and become a master at your craft. Even though I know how to do this new technique, I haven't did it on nobody yet. I've still been practicing until I have it, feel like I have it in the bag where I can be like, okay, this technique right here is 2,500 easily. But I don't want nobody hair falling out. I want to know the consequences. I want to know all of these things. So
yeah.
I'm still doing my research on it. I'm looking at people who already have this in their hair, this type of hairstyle, and seeing how things play out, and then I'll see if that's something that I'll do with my client.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess there's a part of, like you said, education is really important. It's important for
Yes,
everybody. It's important for the stylist to constantly be upskilling. It's important for customers that they can get like the best experience possible. Because ultimately, like you make somebody feel amazing, they will come back time and time again.
they will come back, and you better get as much education as you can because it's about to be gone. Okay, y'all president already said he's taking the education away, so you bet to go out and get as much education as you can. Okay, because we gonna need it. All right.
If you see a course, book a course. You know, I think it's better to say that you have done it and be like, I might apply this at some point, if not now, then later, than to not do it and then it becomes something that customers just want to have done. Because again,
Yes.
you've not upskilled yourself before it's become a big deal, and before
Hmm.
clients are like, oh, I really want my hair to be done that way.
Yes, you have to practice makes perfect, and also education is key to growing your brain and growing in life. Period. Like you can't be at a standstill and thinking. Again, we can use older stylists how the world has changed, and some of the older stylists don't get that the world has changed, and they're still doing things the old way,
Mm,
and they've lost a lot of clients because they're doing things the old way.
right.
You have to educate yourself and move up in the world and know that everything can be temporary. So it's up to you to make yourself non-temporary in this crazy world we exist in. Life moves too fast. It's
Mhm.
hard for us to catch up as it is, but knowing you did what you were supposed to do to grow in this business, it will definitely open up doors as well because people will see that you want to be a better stylist as well. And people commend people who want to be better. If you
Um,
want to be a standstill stylist, that's fine. You're going to stand still and you're going to have no money in your pocket and you're going to be working nowhere. It's the truth.
it's true. Like you have to be able to evolve with the industry as it changes. And I mean, besides that, because that is a really important lesson for people to learn, what is the biggest or most important lesson that you've learned throughout your career?
Nothing's personal, it's just business. Dust yourself off and pick it up because there's been plenty of times where I thought I've had a job and the job is like, oh, no, we're going to go with somebody else. And I'm like, oh, feeling bad. But then when I see the pictures or the hairstyle come out, I'm like, oh, they fucked it up. I'm glad I'm glad I didn't. And then it always comes back to me because there's it's happened to me plenty of times where I've gotten chosen for a job and the day before they're like, because they don't know me, they've never met me, they're like, oh no, I didn't do that. I don't I want somebody, I want the person that I've already worked with, which is granted it's your comfortability. But then their agent or their manager comes back, is like, dang, we just seen this shoot that you did, and that's exactly what the person want. You did amazing. Oh, I wish we could have used you. Yeah, wish you could have.
Huh.
But it's over and done with. The shoot is gone. And there's been um clients that I've worked for a long time, and they'll be like, and they know that I'm the better choice, but they still want to test out other people. And then they come back to me like, dang, we should have used you. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, yeah, you should have. I see it. It's all over the internet, all over social media. It looks like you're wearing a wig, which is not supposed to look like that. So you're welcome. It happens to you on your own accord, not me. I have nothing to do with that. And at the end of the day, it makes you feel better because you start to know your worth. You're like, oh, okay. Because again, and I hate to say this all the time, but as Black people in the industry, we really don't know our worth. Or as a minority in the industry, we really don't know our worth. And it takes a while to get there. And we're always still being played with and looked over. in different instances. When I realized that it was just a business was when I was working in daytime television and I wanted to become a union worker.
Right.
And I realized that there was a group of people, I kept asking them, how do I get into the union? And they wouldn't tell me. They were like, oh, I'll just write a letter for you. That's all you need. But one day, God said, get up and leave the room I was working in. And I end up hearing them talking to another stylist that was of their color. And they were saying, oh, you need to call the union because you've been working here so long. Nobody ever told me that. I was working there longer than that person. I took that same conversation and went to somebody else and said, hey, do you have this person's number for the union? They was like, oh, yeah, why you need it? I was like, I just have a few questions. Called the person, the union head person, was like, hey, my name is Dior Sovoa. I've been working in TV and film for over 5, 6 years. She said, huh, what? You have? Let me look
Oh,
you up. My name was in the system wrong, so they could have been reached out for me to get into the union.
oh,
But because they didn't want me to be in the union, they tried to hold back the information. So
oh,
there's always going to be gatekeepers and things like that. So you have to push forward and just know that everything is business. They don't want us in these spaces because they don't want us to take over. And that's exactly what I did when I went there. I took over because at the end of the day, we are talented beyond measure. We just don't know how talented we are because we aren't given the tools to succeed in life when we're younger. We have to find our superpowers when we get older. So I would say that's the biggest lesson I can ever learn is it's just business. Do not take it personal. It may hurt for a little while. It may hurt for a long while. But at the end of the day, you are going to get over it and you are going to find your power back and you're going to know that you're an amazing person. And you just have to believe that you're amazing and have people around you that support you and tell you you're amazing.
yeah,
That's one of
absolutely.
the biggest things because if you're always in your head like a person like me, I'm always second guessing myself sometimes.
Mm.
But I have people, especially my publicist Natalie. She's like, "Boy, don't make me smack you. You know you're a talented hairstylist. Get it together." And I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Let me open back up my superpowers and let me know that I got this and everything." So just believe in yourself and just know that everything is business. It's not personal. Some people are dealing with their own demons and their own insecurities, so you might lose on a job just because of somebody else's insecurity. You never know.
No, that's a really important lesson to learn. And also just for people to a way of doing their own due diligence as well. Sometimes when you're in environments where people have more information, that's what puts you in a position where you have to wait for them. And it's like having to find a way of getting around that. That can be one of the most difficult things. But we have an hour has gone by very quickly.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and I have one more question.
Okay.
So you're busy on the tour right now. We know that Mariah is like your number one client and she's like family to you, but I can imagine that there are other projects that you might be involved in, other things that you're looking to do. So what is next for you?
Well, I did start working on my hair care line, which I'm amazed. I'm glad about. I still am doing a lot of research. So that's going to be a long project for me because at first I was going to release it last year, but then I came back with some more things for people of color to add to their hair that will help their hair grow. So I want to take this formulation as strict as possible and make sure I'm doing the best because I want my name to be able to last and not say, oh, he just made a product just to get over on people. So I'm working on that. As we know, I am a father. So my babies will be 18 and about to graduate. So I'm going to try to help start a business with them. I know my daughter wants to be a nail tech, so it'll be definitely helping her open up a hair salon slash nail salon
Amazing.
and finding other niches outside of hair that will fulfill me. Like I said, I wanted to do voice acting and things like that. And as far as hair, I'm very satisfied. MC Miss Mariah, the Queen, she keeps me working. She keeps me she keeps the check in my pocket. Okay, um, and we have one of the best relationships. It's hard to find clients that you can have that relationship with,
Yeah.
and be safe and comfortable with. And she's one of the people that I can always feel comfortable and safe with. and be able to tell my deepest, darkest secrets to, and know that they're safe with me. And the same for her, because she knows I have her back. Like, she know I will beat up somebody for her. I don't play about her. So I'm happy when it comes to that part. But outside of hair, I do want to try different things to see where life can lead. And long as I continue to work, I just want to set an example for my kids and other Black beauties out here that you don't have to be a one hit wonder. You don't have to be stuck in one place in life. Like, we're so talented beyond measure that there's more than one thing that we can do. You don't have to just say, "Oh, I'm a hairstylist." Like, if you are a hairstylist, but say you have a passion for nails, do nails on the side. Do nails, see where it takes you and things like that. Follow your passions everywhere, because God put it in your mind and on your heart for a reason. It may not work out, but it may be something that's fulfillment and joy for you that helps you alleviate the stress from this crazy world.
Yeah, no, that's very true. All of that sounds super exciting. Love the idea of a hair care line, and also that you're helping your daughter set up her own space. I'm sure that'll be super
Yes.
exciting, like an amazing project to work on together.
I
And
don't know about that. I just want her to make enough money so she can retire me, okay? I ain't
yeah.
ready. When I get older, I'm ready to retire. You take on these rest of these clients, girl. I'm gonna have you set up for, and that's what I never understood about people who get mad at nepo babies. Like, my father's in the industry for a reason. Yes, I'm going to utilize those contacts and everything else. Why not?
Yes, it's true. I mean, a
D-
lot when people, more often than not, when people are trying to build wealth, they're not just trying to do it to keep the money in the bank. They're trying to do it so they can help their families and their friends, you know, to to do the things that they would have loved to have done. So, yeah, I think it's that's a tricky one. I feel
It's
like
a
on
tricky
one
one,
hand,
definitely, because some people are handed things to them that shouldn't be. So
yeah,
we get that, but in also instance, we can't blame them. We have to blame the world of the people that's hiring them, because it just because of their name and stuff like that. Yeah,
no,
you're not responsible. You're just utilizing what you do. Just like you call somebody, "Hey, I know the bouncer that work at the club. You want to get in free?" Like, everybody uses contacts for everything that they have. So there's no point of blaming a nepo baby for the contacts that they have that their parents worked hard for. What you should blame is the directors or whoever's hiring them, knowing that they're not talented just because of the name.
yes, that is more the problem. The problem is when people get opportunities because of their name, not because they're good.
Utilize yourself, utilize your contacts, do what you have to do in this industry. It's a dog eat dog world. And you have to be vicious, and you have to go for it and know that you're talented and nobody's going to stop you. Because I was told so many times that you would not get. The day I left for New York, I remember me and my cousin got into it, and she told me, we were both hairstylists. She didn't get to graduate. I graduated, but she told me I wouldn't be shit without her.
Ooh.
Just like that. And now she has to eat those words for the rest of her life. Yes. So don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it. It's going to be a million no's, but all it takes is that one yes. And believe in yourself. If you have to get a sticky tab note that says believe in yourself that you keep on your refrigerator or on your bathroom door, put it there. Believe in yourself. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and cannot do, because only God knows that story.
No, absolutely. And I think that's also like a really good point to wrap up on is for people to think about that,
Hmm.
how can you basically drive that self-belief? How can you also surround yourself with the people that are going to lift you up and also hold you accountable, but fundamentally like lift you up and let you know that you're talented, you've got skill, and you just need to be using it in the right way. So no, like a huge thank you, Dio. I really appreciate having your time today again in the middle of a tour. So thank you so, so much. It's been really great speaking to you, learning more about like your history and all of your opinions and thoughts on the industry. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I appreciate you, Jade. Now the world gets to see how crazy I really am. They get to hear me being crazy, okay? So, y'all know it. Jade ain't lying. I'm crazy. But you got to be crazy in this industry, because you got to love yourself. Like RuPaul said, can't love yourself. How you going to get somebody else to love you, okay? Love yourself, believe in yourself, and go for everything that you need to go for. And I really appreciate you, Jade.
Oh, thank you. Like, and yeah, that's also another really good point to end on for all of the whether you're a stylist, whether you're a customer, hair enthusiast. Just remember that there's lots of people that want to be in the position that you're in now.
Hmm.
Do not don't take for granted the position that you're in just because of what you're pursuing. So,
Yes.
you know, it's very important to exercise gratitude for where we are right now. Um, and I think that that's like a few really good points to wrap up on. It's been an amazing hour. If anybody wants to follow Dior, we're going to have links to his social profiles in the newsletter. So don't worry, you don't have to go scrambling on Instagram trying to find him. The link is there. So you can
Yes.
find him and you can follow him. And then also, if you feel that there's somebody that you know that could benefit from hearing this conversation, because there's things that you're like, oh, that person, that person's been feeling a certain way about their career and this could be really uplifting for them, send it to them. Share it with them, share it with people that love hair, that love the hair industry, people that are stylists aspiring to be hairstylists. Because the idea is the more that we share this, the more information that we share, the more we get out there and demonstrate this is the realities of what it is to work in these spaces, the more people that we're helping. And we need our community to do that for us. So please like, share, comment. And again, thank you for listening all the way through, and we will see you on the next episode.
Yes, and on that note, y'all better listen just because it's Jade and she's beautiful. And if y'all don't, I'm going to come find y'all, okay?
Thank
Now y'all can have a good day.